We're going to go back to Don Bolduc, and let's talk about the state of New Hampshire, which I just started on. I'm going to be positive, when you become senator and you replace Maggie Hassan and you go to Washington, what are some of the first things you will do?
Well, the first thing I will do is I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call Senator Shaheen. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm here. We both come from the same state. Let's work together to the best of our ability to do the right thing for Granite Staters, do the right thing for Americans. And you have to know that my default mechanism is always going to be what's right for the Granite Staters and what's right for Americans. I don't care about your party, and I certainly am not going to be controlled by my party or any one individual in my party. I am here, and I am putting my guidon, my flag in the dirt as a indicator of change to where we work for the people, not the other way around, and that we do what's best for them and not what's best for us. And I'm going to have this conversation with her. And then I'm going to have that conversation with whoever the majority leader is in the Senate and the minority leader in the Senate. And I'm going to make sure that my colleagues understand what my priorities are and that I cannot be bought and that I got elected because of my grassroots campaign philosophy, bottom up.
Yep.
And I made promises to Granite Staters, which I will keep, right? And that is to do what's right by God, to strengthen the family, to strengthen education, and to strengthen our communities. And I believe the best way to do that is to get the U.S. government, federal government, out of their way in as many areas as we possibly can. We have a bloated government. We have bloated, bureaucracy and institutions and all these things. We have really clamped down and taken control of people's lives in a way that is not beneficial to the growth of the Granite State, to the growth of America. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is lay out my philosophy, right? And that I am a leader that was sent down here to do the business of Granite Staters. And first and foremost, that's what it's going to be. And I am going to be a guy that will do my business by walking around. I will not send emails. I will not send texts. I will not send letters of protest. I will not object through letters. I will not lead through newsletter, right? I will be a management by walking around guy, a Abraham Lincoln type. Most of the business that can be done in Washington, D.C., you can walk to as a United States Senator. I like walking.
Why not? Yeah.
I like exercising.
Well, face-to-face is the best,
right.
Isn't it?
It is the best.
You have to look somebody in the eyes.
We have to have that, we can't be too busy to do the business of the people on behalf of the people directly with them. And then the second thing I'm going to make known is we have a congressional calendar. And on that calendar, last time I checked, 242 days were dedicated to constituent support. And I am going to dedicate all 242 days, and I'm going to milk as many other days out of that as I possibly can. I'm not going to Washington, D.C. to buy a house, buy a condo. I'm going to rent a room, and I'm going to, that's what I'm doing. I am there part-time with a full-time perspective on the Granite State. I'm going to operate as if the 17th Amendment doesn't exist, that you can recall me like that for not doing the job for you. And I will come back to New Hampshire where I have already a wonderful grassroots infrastructure put in place. I have over 900 volunteers. You could take everyone running in the Senate race right now and combine them, and they don't have over 900 volunteers. I have been doing this for 3 years.
Yes, you have.
I know where people are. I have my county chairman. I have people that they've coordinate with below that in the cities and towns. We're connected across county. And I will go to every single county when I come back, and I will meet with people, and you will know this. Your U.S. Senator, Don Bolduc, is going to be at this location at this time. Come and see me, and we will talk. I will tell you what I know. You will tell me what you want me to do. We will have a good exchange, because that's part of working for you.
Isn't that called redress of grievance?
Yes, of course.
That we get to do that
you
directly
get to do that directly with me,
Yeah.
right? And then I will take that back, because a lot of people say, oh, what are you're only one of 100. No, I have 1.3 million people here in this state that I can leverage, right?
Yep.
And yeah, we all have differences. You know, we're all feel strong about one issue and less about another issue. And some people only have one issue that they're concerned with. But, you know, at the federal level, I want to make sure the federal government does everything possible to ensure your economic prosperity. Do everything possible so that every penny that we spend is fiscally responsible.
Yes.
We can't live with a $30 trillion deficit.
Correct.
We can't.
No.
We can't
It's
live.
not sustainable.
Yeah, we can't live without a budget, without a budget that's passed on time. The president issued his budget, priorities the other day, very concerned with those, but he issued them for, fiscal year 2023. We don't even have a budget for FY 2022. We're still on a continuing resolution. And that's very dangerous, because the government doesn't run completely and fully and effectively on a continuing resolution. It's very, very dangerous.
Neither does any family.
And they haven't paid. Yeah.
So why is that any different?
We don't run.
No.
And so the other thing is, nobody in this race has ever had to deal with the federal budget. I have.
How so?
Well, I was responsible for it. I was responsible for it at every level of command, to include at the strategic level in my division command, where I had billions of dollars of equipment and anywhere between $250 and $500 million operating budget, and I had to follow the same budget process that senators follow, that members of the House of Representatives follow, with the timelines and all the associated things with it. The difference is I had to account for every penny. They do not. And I had to have it in on time. And they do not. They haven't had it in on time since 2006. It's the last time we've had a budget in on time. That is wrong. And that is another priority. Fiscal responsibility at the federal level is hugely important. And right now, it's not there. Maggie Hassan hasn't met a bill that she doesn't like, as long as it spends a lot of money.
Our money.
Doesn't have to solve a problem.
Right.
Hence, we still have an opioid crisis that's even worse.
Correct.
We have an immigration crisis that's even worse. We have a border crisis that's even worse. We have a supply chain issue. We have crime issues. All these things that she's responsible for, sitting on the Homeland Security Committee in the Senate, are all not running like they're supposed to. It's hurting America.
It is, and we have people on these committees that have no experience. It's a quid pro quo.
Yes.
You do this for me,
Right.
I'll give you this position. We're looking at the speaker, because she'll be a senator, but we're looking at the Speaker of the House, and, if you genuflect and bow the knee and you do X, Y, Z, you get this position. It's the same in the Senate, and that should not be. The people with the expertise, as in any business, any true business out in the real world, you must have the training, the credibility, and the experience to be on that committee or run that business, to be that CEO, because that's basically, you're all CEOs.
Yeah, good ideas for the American people aren't limited by, political party, right? And so what we've set up inside the Congress are business rules that don't work, right?
Correct.
4 people are in charge: the majority leader and minority leader in the Senate, the Speaker of the House and the minority leader in the House of Representatives. Those 4 people make the decisions for everybody. They also decide who sits on the committees. And so we've gone from a process where committees work to make the best decision possible on legislation to 4 people.
Correct.
And then they decide which bills get heard and which bills don't get heard.
Yep.
And so this idea that we're doing the best job for the American people is limited by political party bickering and, establishment, fighting back and forth, which gets nothing done for us, waste money. Hence, we don't have a budget. Hence, we have a $30 trillion deficit, and our national security at home and abroad is in the toilet.
Yep.
So this is all bad stuff.
It is. The thing, those 4 people that you're speaking about, let's say 4 people that you're speaking about are appointed.
Right.
I didn't elect them. You didn't elect them.
But they're making decisions for people of New Hampshire.
And they're making decisions for the legislature and the Senate of,
we'll tell you how to vote.
When did they all be?
And if
who
you don't
died
vote
made
that
them
way,
king?
we'll crush you.
I mean, we're looking at multiple dictators in our, and I'm not kidding people, we are looking at multiple dictators in our state government, in our federal government, which is why we broke away from the King of England. That was the whole point. And what are we looking at? Multiple kings and queens. And you're not my leader.
They don't even work together, right? You made a point there, and there was something that I wanted to interject. Yes, here it is. The other process that needs to be fixed is the omnibus process.
Yes.
This idea that you pile on to a bill, and then the next thing you know, it's 6,000 pages long. It hits your inbox at 3 a.m.
And you vote on it at 8 a.m.
Yeah. and then the whole concept of, well, we'll vote on it and then we'll read what's in it, which is a famous thing that Pelosi said.
Yep.
Is absolutely wrong, irresponsible, and not doing your job. The idea that some of those bills still have the watermarks of the lobbyist firm that wrote the bill for the member of Congress, which is absolutely wrong, right? And, in my opinion, we got the time, it's one bill at a time.
Correct.
We got a veteran bill. This veteran bill is very important. Well, that veteran bill shouldn't become a 6,000-page pork bill, because I'll vote for your veteran bill if you vote for this bridge and this park and this thing for me, blah, blah, blah. And that's absolutely wrong. That's how we get into all these problems. And that has to change. And people are like, well, how are you going to change that? Well, you change that.
You just stop it.
By getting the right people down there that are going to fight against it, right? And is it going to be easy? No. But this process that we see today that's so dysfunctional for us is, and it's why I'm running, because I'm part of you. I see it. It's dysfunctional. We came home. We're like, what is going on here, right? At the local, state, and federal level, it's a mess.
Yep.
And we have that on the governance side. Remember, we had that on the national security side, where the federal government, state government, local governments weren't coordinating, weren't sharing information. And what happened? 9/11.
Correct.
So then we tightened it up, right? Thank goodness we haven't had a 9/11 since, and we got great cooperation at the federal, state, and local level. Well, you need that in governance as well.
Correct.
Right? My thing is, the most important level of governance is local. But we've gotten so complacent, right? And we've just said, I don't have time for that. I don't care. It doesn't matter anyways. I hear that all the time. It does matter. You matter. You can make the difference. It's time for a call for action. It's time to come together and change what we don't like. And
which we have the right to do as the employers.
It is absolutely our right. It's in our state constitution.
Yep.
It's in our federal constitution.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't know that New Hampshire's constitution was kind of a framework for the U.S. Constitution. All the rights that we had in 1783 that were codified pretty much are mirrored in our own Constitution. And our Constitution is the bulwark document that solidifies us, our rights, our freedoms, inside a government that works for the people, not for themselves.
Correct.
The idea that because you're a senator or you're a representative, that somehow that that title places you above people
Correct.
is wrong.
Correct.
That title gives you accountability and responsibility to people, and it's their title, right? I think one of the biggest legacy things that we have here in New Hampshire that we need to get rid of is this idea that we refer to the governor as His Excellency. You know, George Washington had a debate on what shall we call you? What shall we call the president, right? And John Adams wanted to call him His Excellency, right? And Washington said, no, you'll call me Mr. President.
Right.
And that's the way it should be. We do not have royalty. No, this idea of political families and this idea of lining up behind people, this idea
your turn, my turn,
of succession, and I pick you and you pick the next, blah, blah, blah. It's all wrong. It's inconsistent. I go into tilt mode. I wasn't raised that way here in this Granite State, and I didn't serve my country for 33 and a half years, and I didn't get sent to combat for 81 months in my career, lose 72 service members to come back and find my country doing the opposite of what they sent me to other places to do.
Exactly.
That is wrong. And it doesn't honor the fallen. And it doesn't honor our Declaration of Independence. It doesn't honor our Constitution. That doesn't mean we were perfect, because we weren't perfect. And we're not perfect. But we should strive to be better and better and better. And that's what this document has allowed us to do. And that's why serving in 3/4 of the countries in this world and meeting people from every walk of life and having to talk to presidents and vice presidents and heads of state and ambassadors and working at every single level in our government and outside our government internationally, I have come to realize that everybody thinks this country is the greatest country in the world. And we have right now an opportunity to either make sure that that continues in 2022 or go in the other direction, which is where a lot of people want to head us.
Correct.
And it's a mistake.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's a mistake. I've seen it, right? And all these people that get all up in arms, listen, have you ever been in a refugee camp? Probably not. I challenge anybody that I'm running against to tell me that they were in a refugee camp, that they saw things that would almost make you puke, the smells, the terrible conditions, holding a baby,
the poverty,
walking up to a baby covered in flies, having a baby die in your arms, or trying to help a baby and then coming back the next day only to find out that baby has died, and they're having a funeral, and standing there and grieving with people that you had just met that you don't know. These are terrible conditions, right? And our border policies are setting up those conditions to happen on our own border.
Yep.
And that should never happen, because I've seen it in too many other countries. And so what Maggie Hassan has done is wrong. It's wrong. And what she is doing is wrong.
Yep.
And what the president and his administration is doing
is wrong.
Right? It's wrong. And it needs to be called out. And nobody wants to call it out. I'm calling it out. It is wrong. I know it's wrong, and I know why it's wrong, because I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen what happens. I've seen what happens in places that don't have police officers and don't have safe areas, and what happens to families. I've seen what happens in combat environments. I've seen what happens to our own people in combat environments. I know what's happened to me as a result of combat. I know what happens. I know the destruction. I'm the last person that wants to go down to Washington, D.C., and get us involved in war. I believe there are other ways and other options to keep us out of it. And everything this administration has done has led to war or a backfire or unstable conditions, whether it was the disgraceful withdrawal from Afghanistan, which has caused us problems American people have forgot that they exist out there. And what Iran is causing us, and what North Korea and China and Russia and all of this stuff going on, it's all interconnected. And so these things I have experienced. These things I believe I can go to Washington, D.C. and help you as a Granite Stater, as a mom, as a dad, as someone who cares about their family, because I'm going through it with you.
Yes, you are.
I am with you. I am in the community. I am part of the community. I have seen it.
Yep. You are us.
And that's why I'm running, because we need a representative of us. And trust me, I won't get lost down there. Right?
I don't think so.
I won't wander off the path.
Right.
Trust me, I won't. And if I do, you got to slap me upside the head. But I know I won't, because that's not what I do.
That's not who you are.
It's not who I am, right? I'm not perfect, trust me. And I will make mistakes and I don't know everything. That's why I need your help. When have you heard anybody in office say, I need your help? No, they just tell you what you're going to do.
This is what we think, this is what I want.
And we see it at the federal level. And it's wrong in both areas. We need different people. And we got to make a change. And 2022 is where we need to do it. And we need a call for action to bring people together and say, enough is enough. This isn't right.
I agree. And we need to, in finishing up in this last minute and a half, we need to work at the grassroots. We need to work directly with candidates. We need to stop handing our money over to the RNC, the GOP, the DNC, and all the LMNOPs. The money needs to go directly to the candidates. You need to speak with people like Dawn. We need to speak with people like Julian. And we need to speak with people like Karen Testerman. Speak to them all, a heart-to-heart, not, oh, I want to have a beer with them. Oh, I want to go running through the fields with them. No, we need to know what your heart and soul is, what your guts are, what you're actually going to do, and how hard you're going to work, and who you believe in. And you've told us you believe in us, you believe in the Constitution, you believe in God, you believe in family, you believe in country.
It's all very simple, right? And it's all totally American. And it's what other people want as well. And if we can lead that way here, it will catch on over there. I saw it over and over and over again. But yet we continue to default back to trying to re-engineer something that doesn't need to be re-engineered. It just needs to be promoted and strengthened and led properly and nurtured. And we can do that, because that's what freedom is all about.
It is. So tell everybody how they can reach out to you, what your website is, and...
Sure. My website is www.donbolduc.com. You can go to that, and you can volunteer. You can send me, there's an info tab there. You can send an email. You can certainly donate. I meet with people for coffee. I meet with people for lunch. I go on morning walks with people. I do whatever it is I need to do to earn people's vote, right? This is about messaging, not about money.
Correct.
If you make it about money, you're going to get the same old people doing the same old thing. If you make it about the message and the person and the experience, you're going to pick the right person and make them work for you. And I will work for you.
I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming again, as always, the greatest guest and telling the truth, and that's what it's all about. No